Well, we got 2 weeks of AI chaos packed into one video. This week, Microsoft and OpenAI issued a joint statement while Microsoft was also flirting with Anthropic on the side. Meta dropped $140 million on Black Forest Labs to get hyper-real images, and Photoshop is actually embracing Nano Banana. Plus, ByteDance takes a swing at Google with Seedream, Amazon makes everything you see shoppable, and a pro baseball team let AI call the shots in an actual game. There is a ton to cover this week, and I don't want to waste your time, so let's dive right in, starting with Claude's brand new abilities. You can now create and edit files directly within Claude, and I don't just mean like text files or something really basic like that. No, you can actually create and edit Excel spreadsheets, documents, PowerPoint slides, and PDFs directly using Claude. At the moment, this feature is only available in Max, Team, and Enterprise plans, so pro users that are on like the $20 a month plan don't have it yet, but it does say that they will get access in the coming weeks. Now, I do have a Max plan just because I test things on this channel and I want to see what it can do. So the first thing I tested was I gave it this PDF here. It's an OpenAI PDF called Why Language Models Hallucinate, and it's a big long breakdown with a lot of confusing math and graphs and charts, and I don't totally understand it, but I wanted to turn it into a PowerPoint slide deck. So I literally just gave it the PDF and said, turn this PDF into a colorful slide deck. And this is what it gave me. Not the prettiest slide deck in the world, and Anthropic really loves to use this like blue purple gradient here, but this is the slide deck that it generated for me. And you can see as I click through it that it explains pretty much what's going on in the paper in slide form. Again, not the prettiest slides you've probably ever seen, but it definitely did it. And interestingly enough, it says I cannot directly create PowerPoint files. So it turns out this new feature, if you do have one of these plans that it's available in, is not on by default. So if I come down here, click on settings, click on features, you can see under experimental, there's upgraded file creation and analysis. I need to turn this on for it to work with docs, spreadsheets, PDFs, etc. Now that I have that feature turned on, it seems like I need to create a new chat to actually make it work. It didn't work inside of the existing chat because I guess that feature wasn't activated in that chat. So I upload the PDF and give it the prompt to create a PowerPoint presentation from the attached PDF. And we can see this time it is working. I'll create a PowerPoint presentation, and it actually installed some like Python libraries and is building the PowerPoint as we watch. And after a few minutes, we have actual PowerPoint slides here. I mean, they're pretty ugly. You'd want to go in and do some design on them actually in PowerPoint, but we can download them, and it looks like we can even open them in Drive. So if I click this, it opens up our Google Drive, and look, we can see it as an actual slide deck here. So this is where we could go in and start designing. It actually added a few extra bullet points that we don't really need. So it's definitely not the prettiest of designs, but it did make a PowerPoint. Let's try to get it to make an Excel spreadsheet real quick. Make an Excel spreadsheet that breaks down and compares the stock prices of Nvidia, Microsoft, and Apple over the last 12 months. So it's searching the web to grab all the data for us, and it actually worked pretty hard. You can see all of the stuff that it did to get to this Excel spreadsheet. And then at the end, we can see the spreadsheet that it created for us. Not a ton of detail. Oh wait, let's see, we got different tabs. Okay, there's the detail. Nice. All right, so let's go ahead and open it in Google Drive. This will be a more accurate look at what it actually looks like. All right, stock price comparison of these three companies as of September 11th, 2025, the day I'm recording this. And then we've got our monthly price spreadsheet and our relative performance spreadsheet. And all of this was created with a single prompt, and it built an Excel file for us. So pretty cool new features coming out of Anthropic. Bummer that it's only available on the expensive plans right now, but it does seem to be rolling out to the other plans really soon. If you're a fan of NotebookLM like I am, they rolled out some new features for their audio overviews. Their audio overviews is that feature where it will make podcasts out of whatever data you give it. Well, now you have some additional options. You have your default deep dive, which I believe is kind of like the podcast we already get. You've got a brief, which is just a 1 to 2 minute bite-sized overview, a critique where an expert reviews it and offers constructive feedback on the material, and there's a debate mode where there's a thoughtful debate between the two hosts. I'm pretty sure this is available to everybody, no matter which plan you're on. So if I jump into our Birds Aren't Real notebook that we've played with in a few past videos and we come up to audio overview up here and we click on the little pen icon next to it. You can see we've got our deep dive. That's the normal conversation between the two hosts. We've got our brief, which is a bite-sized overview, our critique, and our debate. Let's go ahead and try a debate. And let's generate this debate version. And it looks like you can generate multiple audio versions because it's generating the normal audio overview. And I just asked it to create the debate version and it's creating both. And that actually took a really long time to generate. I'd say it took at least 5 minutes to generate our debate, but this is what it sounds like.
Welcome to the debate. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating online phenomenon. Birds aren't real. I'll be arguing that birds aren't real primarily serves as insightful social commentary.
While I absolutely acknowledge the clear satirical intent behind birds aren't real, I do believe the widespread circulation of its content and, frankly, the documented instances of literal interpretation, well, they can make its overall impact problematic.
So that's what the debate feature does. It will make it so one AI takes one side, the other AI takes the other side, and then, well, they debate both sides. And again, that's just one of 3 new audio overview features that you can test out. So jump in, throw in some content, and maybe try the brief or the critique and see what it does for you. And only a couple weeks after the world got nano banana, well, we got another model out of ByteDance from China that claims to be the nano banana killer, the tool that's even better than nano banana. This one is called Seedream 4.0 or Seedream. I think it's Seedream, but pretty much the exact same concept of Nano Banana. You give it an image, you tell it what you want changed about the image, and it will make those edits. Or you give it a whole bunch of images and tell it to sort of combine the images, and it will do that as well. And the best way that I've found so far to use this Seedrance model is to open it in fall.ai here. It hasn't really rolled out into most of the other platforms just yet, so this one seems to be the best. And this was actually one of the examples they gave. There was a different person here, but they gave it these 3 items of clothing and told it to put them on that person. And I just swapped out the person with me. I just uploaded this image of myself and told it to put that outfit on this person. And this was the output I got by giving all 4 of those images. Now, it totally jacked up my face, and I promise my legs aren't that hairy, but it put the outfit on and the outfit looks good. The sandals to me don't look close to what these sandals are, but it did a fairly decent job. Better than Nano Banana? I don't know if I'd say that, but maybe on par. I'm gonna take another image. I've got this image here of when I was in New York a couple weeks ago with the Smooth Media team and a bunch of creators that work with Smooth Media. And let's give it the prompt. Put this group outside at night with the New York skyline behind them. Let's see if it can do that for us. And it took about 22 seconds and 3 pennies to do, but it did it. Just don't look too closely at people's faces. To be fair though, Nano Banana has the same issue. It really jacks up people's faces, especially when it's not like a close-up on their face. So far from my testing, which has been very little so far, this model seems to be pretty much on par with Nano Banana, but this one is taking me 3 cents per image, where Nano Banana I can still use for free over in AI Studio. So if it was me, I'm probably still going to AI Studio for now and using Nano Banana, but another model that you can play around with if you want. This new AI tool makes coding so easy, it's almost fun. And no, it's not Cursor or Claude code. Warp is an agentic development environment to ship production-ready code. You just tell it what you want to build in plain English. It acts like an AI-powered dev assistant, but the game changer is that you can run several agents in parallel. One building features, another fixing tests, another deploying, and you manage them all in one clean panel. Here's how I use it. Say I'm making a tweak in an existing project. Warp shows me the changes right in line so I can scan through them quickly. If I need to adjust something by hand, I can pop it open in the editor panel and fix it directly. I can also pull up this review panel to easily keep track of all the updates in one place. And the best part is, you're always in control. Warp asks before executing anything that may be a bit sketchy, so you can QA the generated code, and has support for MCP integration and rules to remember all of your preferences. I also love the smaller features that make me prefer it over Claude code, like the super clean UI, ability to switch between a bunch of support LLMs, and even voice input and image support if you're feeling fancy. So yeah, if you've ever wanted to make production level coding so easy that it's almost fun, I'd recommend giving Warp a try. It's free and honestly might become your new favorite dev tool. Use the code MattWolfe to get your first month for just $1. After that, it's just 18 bucks a month and you can cancel anytime. Thanks so much to Warp for sponsoring this one. Now let's get back to it. The company Ideogram released a new style feature. It allows you to give it a prompt, give it a style of what you want the image to look like, and it will match the style of the image you get it. Side note, I just learned this week from Tim over at Theoretically Media that it's actually pronounced Ideogram. I've been calling it Ideogram this whole time, but now I know it's Ideogram. But let's try this out real quick. If I head over to Ideogram AI, we can see we get a giant pop-up introducing Ideogram styles. Let's go ahead and try now. And they have a whole bunch of pre-created styles here that you can use. So let's say I really like this emotional minimal style. I can select this style and you can see it puts it down here as the style reference. And then let's say a man with a short brown beard holding a microphone and waving. Just ignore these previous images I was trying to generate. No story there, promise. And here we go. We got those images in that style that we just looked at of a man waving and holding a microphone. I mean, they made the beard green instead of brown, but I think that's just because of the way that styling worked. But I can also come up here and give it my own style reference. Let's upload an image. Let's give it this image as the style reference. Why not? When the image is uploaded, it gives us the option to edit the image or use it as a reference, and we'll reference the style of this image here. I'm gonna give it the prompt, a monkey holding up a taco, and it gave me my monkey holding a taco, but it doesn't look like this jacked up image that I gave it, so it didn't quite follow the style exactly, but it kind of followed the color schemes, right? It didn't follow the style, but it did match the colors to some degree, especially the background. The background looks like it kind of matched the style, but that's the Ideogram new style feature. There was also this feature that I showed off from a couple weeks ago called real-time video generation, where you can edit an image and in real time over on the right side, it will actually generate the video from the image that you're currently editing. And yes, they announced this a few weeks ago, but they gave me access this week so I can finally test it. I do not know how quickly this is rolling out or when it will be fully publicly available. I just joined the wait list. It took like a week, and then eventually I got an email saying, hey, you're in. But this is what it looks like on the inside. So we've got the prompt, hyper realistic massive white eyeball emerging from the middle of the blue ocean, big waves. And then on the left, I can actually edit this. And if I move this eyeball around, you can actually see that my animation on the left side changes in almost real time. There's definitely a little bit of a delay. So if I move this over to the right, you'll notice it'll take a couple seconds, and then the animation will follow. So it's not totally real time. It is almost real time, but definitely a little bit of a delay. And you can create actual video animations in real time. I don't totally know the usefulness of this yet. It would seem like you'd want to be able to do like keyframes, like I put the image over here, keyframe it, and then maybe move it over here and keyframe it. And then this animation would be created based on where I made the keyframes, but it doesn't seem like that's how it works. It almost just kind of seems like a toy at the moment. So not quite sure what to do with this yet. If you do know, let me know in the comments. Right now, it's just kind of a cool, fun demo. But again, not a lot of real world practical use cases that I can see yet. It's just crazy cool. Here's another one of a hyper realistic 3D render of a fluffy green monster. And you can see I can sort of move the body around on the left here, and it tweaks our little green monster over on the right, move the arms around, put them like way up here. And as you can see, it animates to match what I just did. What happens if I take the eyes way off? Oh, my eyes just popped off. All right. Yeah. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. Now, this is one that I have no idea when this came out, but I just discovered it this week from Robin Delta here. And this is a tool called Morphic 3D Motion. And it's kind of similar to the KREA model, where you select different positions, but this one you kind of do almost keyframe them, and then it follows the animations based on the keyframes. And this one could be accessed over at studio.morphic.com. So I'm just going to start by like pulling in a headshot of myself here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this little 3D motion icon at the top. It brings me into this mode here. So we've got position 1, which is my starting position of the image. But then if I actually drag this around, yeah, it looks all warped and funky, but we're basically setting the next like step. So if I leave it there and then click on new position, you can see it just created position 2. And then let's let's do like an underneath looking up the nose shot. And then let's do like a crazy tweaked out looking down, maybe even zoom out a little bit, call that a new position. And then let's just submit this as a prompt. So I guess it's generating our video now based on the like 4 frames that I set. And well, here's the absolutely cursed video that it created. Yeah, it didn't quite look like the examples I saw from Rob and Delta there, but it could be I didn't give it a text prompt. So let's try this one more time. I'm gonna add the prompt down here. This time the man looks directly into the camera and see if just making sure I give it this extra prompt improves the output. And while I think it got a little bit better, it's still looking pretty cursed. Yeah, so not great. Don't know exactly how the demos I saw looked so good. Maybe I just had too extreme of movements and I needed to make them more subtle, but something fun to play around with. I didn't spend a penny on this. You get a certain amount of free credits here, and I've used 20 out of 100 credits so far. So something you can go play around with for free. Maybe you'll have better results than I do. In the last couple of weeks, we also got a version 2 from ElevenLabs of their sound effects model, which supposedly has higher sound effects quality. And probably the cooler feature is you can seamlessly loop sound effects. So I jumped into ElevenLabs here, and my producer Dave wanted to see if it will generate the Wilhelm scream. And it did. I just warn you, you might want to turn down your speakers for a second here. And it also made 3 other variations. All very similar, all very Wilhelm screamy, but all also very loud. But what was more interesting about this update was the ability to loop sound effects. So I gave it the prompt, a crackling fireplace, turned the looping feature on, and this is what we got out of it. And notice how it continues to loop through. And of course, we got a few more variations as well. I actually like number 4 because it sounds like they're outside with like some crickets and stuff, but really cool that you can make these sound effects and make them loop as well now. Also in the last couple of weeks, Amazon rolled out this Amazon Lens Live feature, which is a feature where you can open up the Amazon app, scan items that you see in the real world, and it will try to find that item or a similar item on Amazon for you. So let's test this out on a couple things real quick. Let me just take a few pictures. So if I open my Amazon app here, up by the search box, there's a little square photo icon. If I press that icon, you can actually see my camera here. All right, so let's try this out. Sorry about the audio quality. Let's try taking a picture of one of my guitars here. Click our little search, and it found the wall hooks for the guitar, but maybe not the actual guitar itself. Okay, there's a guitar that looks very similar, actually. Let's try something else. Let's look at my camera up here. It found some Sony cameras, just not the right one yet. Let's see. This is a Sony ZV-1 that I'm filming on right now, and it did find it. It's right there. The Sony Alpha ZV-1. So it found the camera as well. What happens if I just do like a general area of like a bunch of stuff? So there's a whole bunch of things in the shot here. Let's take a picture. What's it gonna find for us? Okay, so it found like a similar cabinet to what's back there. But what about all the junk that I have like on the shelves and above the cabinet? It seems like it just found the cabinet and none of the other stuff. But a cool little app. If you're out and about like at a store or something and you're like,
I kind of want that, but maybe I don't want to buy it right now.
Go add it to your Amazon wish list by taking a picture of it. Kind of cool. All right, now that concludes the portion of the video that I wanted to like demo a bunch of the new stuff, but that's not the end of the news that came out over the last 2 weeks. Again, 2 weeks worth of news. There's still a lot to cover, but nothing I want to go too deep in. So let's go ahead and do a rapid fire. I'll start by breaking down all of the latest updates and news in large language models. I don't like going super deep on this anymore because most of the updates from large language models feel very marginal, and most of the world's probably not going to notice huge leaps in their day-to-day use of these models. In the last couple of weeks, Grok rolled out a new model called Grok Code Fast 1. Back when Grok 4 was launched, they teased a coding model that wasn't available yet. This appears to be that coding model. I haven't used it myself yet. Here's some screenshots of some code that it's generated. From my understanding and from people I've seen who have tested this model, most people doing code still seem to prefer Opus 4.1 and ChatGPT o3 Pro as like the best coding models right now. But this one does seem to be fast and cheap compared to other models. Google rolled out a new small model called Embedding Gemma. This is a small open source model designed to be run on device. For those that are interested, here's some comparisons of how it compares to other similarly sized models here. But if you want to do a deeper dive, I will make sure everything is linked up in the description below. There's a new large language model from a Swiss company called the Swiss National Supercomputing Center, and they released Apertus, which is Latin for open. Again, not a model I've tested, but another model that's available if you want to play with it. Alibaba released a new model called Qwen 3 Next 80B A3B. Why? It comes in two flavors: Qwen 3 Next 80B A3B Instruct and Qwen 3 Next 80B A3B Thinking. Here's some benchmarks for you if you want to pause and take a look. They're only being compared to other Qwen models, and again, not one I've played with a ton myself. And in the last bit of LLM news, Baidu has a new reasoning model called ERNIE X 1.1. Apparently, it's advanced in factuality, instruction following, and agentic capabilities, surpassing DeepSeek R1 and performing on par with models like GPT-5 and Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is really impressive, honestly. Here's some benchmarks where you can see the blue line on the left of each chart. Here is this new X 1.1 model, and it seems to beat out all the rest of the models in accuracy, which we can see from the Chinese Simple QA and from the BFCL V3, which both test accuracy, as well as the MUSR. So that seems to be the thing that this model has going for it the most, is that it's apparently the most accurate. It also seems to have a very low hallucination rate compared to the other models. We got a couple new features inside of ChatGPT over the last couple weeks. You can now use projects inside of the free plan. You can also upload more files and larger files. You could change some of the colors, and they added project-only memory controls for more tailored context, which is something I've absolutely wanted forever, and so glad it's in there now. They also rolled out a new branching feature where you can start having a chat with ChatGPT, and then if you want to jump back to a certain spot and continue from that spot, you can branch off and continue the chat from that branch. Now, all these features that I just mentioned here, we talked about in a recent video. I made like a starter guide, beginner's guide to ChatGPT that even if you're kind of more intermediate to advanced, you probably want to watch because I share some really cool tips in there. But I do talk about these new features there as well. But just to quickly demo them, if I open up my ChatGPT account, you can see this is what the projects feature is. They're basically folders that let you sort of organize various discussions all within a single easy to access folder here. However, you can now create a new project, let's say fitness coach. And then if I click on this little cog icon here, I can turn the memory to project only, meaning that it will only remember and reference things that happen inside this folder or inside this project. Super, super helpful. It doesn't start trying to reference chats that you had with ChatGPT outside of the folder. It just keeps it all in one place, which super, super helpful quality of life feature that I love that they rolled out. And for the branching feature, let's say you have a conversation here and you give it a follow-up prompt, but then maybe you don't like the response after the follow-up prompt and you want to jump back and continue from this point in the conversation instead of this point in the conversation. Well, if I click these little three dots here where it says more actions, there's now a button that says branch into new chat. If I click that, it opens up a new chat window, but it starts from just the first prompt and I can continue it from here. So another little quality of life update from ChatGPT this week. For me, this sort of like interplay of all of these AI companies that are like frenemies, they work together, they hate each other, there's drama, all of that kind of stuff has been some of the most fascinating things to come out of the like AI bubble that's happened. And this is especially interesting. Microsoft is about to buy AI from Anthropic. Now, if you're not paying super close attention and you don't know why this is interesting, well, Microsoft owns basically 49% of OpenAI. So the fact that they're going to Anthropic, one of OpenAI's biggest competitors, is very interesting. But also this week, we got this joint statement from Microsoft and OpenAI, and this was posted on both the Microsoft blog and the OpenAI blog. And well, I'll read the entire statement to you. Microsoft and OpenAI have signed a non-binding memorandum of understanding, or MOU, for the next phase of our partnership. We are actively working to finalize contractual terms in a definitive agreement. Together, we remain focused on delivering the best AI tools for everyone, grounded in our shared commitment to safety. That's the whole thing. So again, if you're not paying attention to all the inner workings of what's going on in the AI world, Microsoft owns 49% of the OpenAI sort of non-profit umbrella. This gets Microsoft access to OpenAI's new models and use of OpenAI's APIs inside of the various Microsoft tools. Well, OpenAI wanted to shift to a non-profit. There was a lot of pushback on that. Instead, they shifted to a public benefit corporation. And as they try to restructure, well, Microsoft has been trying to figure out where they fit in this whole restructuring deal. And their joint statement this week is basically them saying,
we're committed to figuring out a deal and continuing to work together.
But it also seems like Microsoft is really pushing hard to have their own internal models that aren't made by OpenAI. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and AI chief Mustafa Suleyman committed to significant investments in its own models. We should have the capacity to build world-class frontier models in-house of all sizes, but we should be very pragmatic and use other models where we need to, said Suleyman. Apparently, the nonprofit parent company, the OpenAI nonprofit, will continue to hold authority over the for-profit business with an equity stake worth more than $100 billion. So the nonprofit that Microsoft has their interest in will still kind of have control over whatever new OpenAI structure happens. And since we're talking about companies working together and all of these overlaps and things like that, well, it turns out Meta is going to pay $140 million to use Black Forest Labs for AI images. Now, a couple weeks ago, we talked about how Meta is partnering with Midjourney for image generation. Well, Black Forest Labs is like a direct competitor to Midjourney. They're both their own separate image generation models. So why the heck would Meta go and invest in working with Midjourney and go and invest in Black Forest Labs when both of them can generate AI images? My guess, I'm not saying this is totally accurate, but my guess is that Black Forest Labs is really good at creating ultra realistic images that are almost indistinguishable from real images, where Midjourney has more of like an aesthetic, right? You could look at a Midjourney image and kind of tell that was probably made with Midjourney. Like it has a stylized look to it. So my guess is that Meta wants both sides. They want Black Forest Labs for the ultra realism. They want Midjourney because Midjourney is a well-respected brand in AI image generation. And also they've got that aesthetic that a lot of people really like. This week was also the annual Apple event where they launched their new iPhone and other gadgets, and they did debut a new iPhone 17. They also debuted like an Air version that's a lot thinner. They introduced some new versions of the Apple Watch, which I believe has like some AI health coach kind of stuff in it. And they introduced the new AirPods Pro 3. And for me, this was the biggest release from the whole event. The AirPods Pro 3 look really, really impressive because, well, they've got new active noise cancellation, which sounds really, really good. They've got a new heart rate sensor for working out, but the absolute coolest feature is the live translation built directly into the AirPods. With AirPods Pro 3, live translation enables in-person communication across select languages and is available in beta. So just check out the little demo video. This is pretty cool.
Hola, bienvenida.
Hi.
Hoy todos los claveles.
Hello, welcome. Today, all the red carnations are 50% off.
I'd love to take some of these to my sister for her birthday. I'll buy 8, please.
And then when you respond to the person, you just hold up your phone and whatever you're saying in English translates to their native language and they can just read it off of your phone.
Did you understand a word of that?
Our universal translators must be malfunctioning.
And what's even cooler is if both parties have these AirPod 3s in, they can each speak in their natural language and hear in their natural language.
I agree, yeah.
Eu concordo, sim. Vamos incluir as principais descobertas na apresentação de sexta-feira.
Com certeza. O cliente vai adorar ver isso.
Definitely. The client will love that. I'll let the strategy team know to prepare that immediately.
That to me is absolutely game changing. We're entering into a world where communication and languages are no longer a barrier. And it's only a matter of time before everyone pretty much has some sort of earbuds that translate, because the Google Buds, I think, already do this. We're getting it in AirPods. Pretty soon, this is just going to be a standard thing, and everybody's going to have headphones that translate with anybody. And that's a world I'm pretty excited about. Speaking of translation, Google just rolled out a new circle to search feature that will translate anything you see on your screen. So in their examples here, you can see they take a picture and then they have it automatically translate whatever is going on in the picture. So look at this bag. It shows you exactly what the bag says, and it's pretty cool looking. One thing I do find a little interesting though, is it says this update will begin rolling out this week on Android, starting with select Samsung Galaxy devices. And that makes no sense to me that they roll it out for Samsung Galaxy devices, because Google owns the Google Pixel. Like, this is their Android phone. Why aren't they rolling it out in the phones that they create? Why does this stuff come out on Galaxies first? I mean, I'm sure it's some sort of contractual thing, but damn it, I've got a Google Pixel here and I want to test this feature out. There's some minor new updates with Veo 3 as well. You can now generate vertical videos directly with Veo 3. They also reduced the cost by quite a bit. Veo 3 almost got cut in half, and Veo 3 Fast got cut by more than half. And while if Veo 3 is rolling out vertical videos, we know what that means. It's probably coming to YouTube Shorts very, very soon. In fact, YouTube has already confirmed that it's coming to YouTube Shorts. Back at Cannes Lions this year, Neil Mohan, the CEO of YouTube, did say YouTube is bringing its Veo 3 AI video generation model to YouTube Shorts later this summer. And I mean, summer's almost over, so it'll probably be in YouTube Shorts pretty damn soon. Veo 3 is also available inside of Google Photos, where you can take any of your photos inside of Google Photos and animate them. For some reason, the Google Photos app doesn't let me share my phone screen with you. But if you look at my phone here, you can see the little create button down in the bottom menu. And if you click create, you can see there's a photo to video feature there that will turn whatever photos you have in Google Photos into video using Veo 3. If you're a fan of Nano Banana, well, you can use Nano Banana now directly inside of Leonardo. It's pretty simple. Go to the image section inside of Leonardo, click on one of the images that you recently generated, and then down in the bottom where you select your model, you can see you have the option for Flux One Context, GPT-1, and Nano Banana. Go ahead and select Nano Banana and say, put a shirt on the alien that says Future Tools. And within seconds, I have my updated image that used Nano Banana. And since we're talking about Nano Banana, it turns out that Adobe Photoshop's just embracing it. We've seen all sorts of video titles and X threads and things like that saying Photoshop is dead. Well, it turns out, no, Photoshop is just going to leverage Nano Banana. According to my friend Chris Castanova here, who works at Adobe, Nano Banana is coming to Photoshop natively. You'll be able to actually select Nano Banana as one of the models. I don't know when it's rolling out exactly, but we do know Nano Banana is going to be directly inside of Photoshop soon. This is an interesting story that comes out of an absolutely heartbreaking scenario, but I feel like I need to share this as like a sort of public interest sort of thing. So as we all know, Charlie Kirk, the political commentator, was assassinated, and people are trying to use AI to upscale images of the suspect, right? So these are the original images that the FBI shared right here. And you can see they're pretty low res, grainy images. And what people have been doing is tossing these images into upscalers and saying, look, I upscaled the image for you, so now we know what this guy looks like. That's not how the upscalers work. This is not necessarily how the guy looks. When you plug in an image into an upscaler, what the upscaler is doing is it's using AI to guess what those extra pixels in between the pixels it knows about are. So when you have a very grainy image that looks very pixelated and you try to upscale it, AI is going to add a whole bunch of new pixels in there to try to sharpen the image, but it's making its best guess at what it thinks those pixels should be to create the image. And you'll notice there's 3 upscaled images here, and they look like 3 different people. So don't believe that upscaling low-res images is a way to see a better quality version and try to get more details out of the image, because the details are hallucinated. They're not necessarily real details. And that doesn't go for just this one story alone. It's probably something that's just good to know about AI. All right, now let's move into some of the final fun stories of this week. A baseball team this week out of Oakland called the Oakland Ballers were the first team to let AI manage the game. So this team, the Oakland Ballers, their manager, Aaron Miles, created a little AI tool that decided the lineup of the game, who should be pitching, when to pull the pitcher, when to put in pinch hitters, pinch runners, things like that. Basically decide all of the management of the game. They let AI make every single decision. And in the game where they tested this, they actually won. So the AI did a good job.
You son of a bitch.
If you're into autonomous vehicles, the company Zoox, which is owned by Amazon, is getting ready to launch their Robotaxis in Las Vegas. And this is what the Robotaxis look like. I actually saw them in person at CES this year, and they're more like a robo bus. It's like a little mini bus that you get in and sit down in. It doesn't even have a steering wheel or gas pedal or anything. You just get in and sit down, and it is going to shuttle people up and down the strip and could be a pretty strong contender against Elon's tunnel thing that goes underneath Vegas, the Hyperloop, because the Hyperloop really only goes between the convention center and one hotel, and these little Zoox buses will be able to shuttle you up and down the strip and will probably be quite a bit more convenient. Next time I'm in Vegas, I'm definitely going to give it a try. And in this week's edition of Can AI Do the Stuff That I Really Don't Want to Do Myself, we got a humanoid robot that can do your dishes for you. Now, this is the Figure robot, and we previously saw this robot putting laundry into a washing machine. We saw it folding laundry, and now we see it doing our dishes. And this is the world that everybody wants robots to do for them. Do my dishes, do my laundry, clean up after me, make my food. That's the kind of stuff we want our AI robots to do. So we could be lazy and be those fat people sitting in the Wall-E chairs just watching TV and drinking Slurpees all day. And well, we're finally getting the robots that are going to help us achieve that utopia. But that's what I got for you today. This was 2 weeks worth of news, so this video is probably slightly longer than my normal news videos, but there was a lot to cover. I'm going to be in New York again coming up here, and so my next news video might be on location from New York, assuming there's enough interesting news to talk about that week, which there will be, because we have both Meta Connect and the Made on YouTube events coming up. There's going to be plenty of news to talk about next week. But again, I covered everything from the last 2 weeks that I thought you would find interesting. My job is to keep my finger on the pulse of everything that's happening in AI, to test stuff, to demo it, to tell you all about the news, so that just once a week you can be fully looped in with these videos if you want. Hopefully I achieved that goal this week for you and you feel more looped in. And if you do want to make sure you always feel very looped in on this insanely fast moving industry, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. It will make sure more videos like this news roundup show up for you, as well as some really cool AI tutorials on how to do awesome stuff using these tools. Again, just like, subscribe, do all the things. It's much, much appreciated, and I will keep on trying to be as helpful as possible for you. I really, really appreciate you tuning in, nerding out, spending time with me. It means the world to me that I get to do this. So thank you so, so much. I really, really appreciate you, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for nerding out with me today. If you like videos like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I'll make sure more videos like this show up in your YouTube feed. And if you haven't already, check out futuretools.io, where I share all the coolest AI tools and all the latest AI news. And there's an awesome free newsletter. Thanks again. Really appreciate you. See you in the next one.